And we are live.
Hello, everyone.
Maurice, Master Shake.
Master Shake. Is that from Aqua Team?
Well, Master Shake emailed me a question just before the chat. He is a young collector.
Yeah.
He is thinking about submitting to CCC for the first time.
Okay.
He is scared of he's scared of book being damaged. And the first thing I did was I sent him a link to my video on packing tips that I did 6 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's an old video, but if you search on YouTube, there are a bunch of people that did tips on how to pack comic books to ship. So I'm not the only one. But for sure, my advice to him is pack well. You know, I can't stress enough that it's just like eBay seller. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm the kind of person that has sold thousands of books, shipped hundreds of packages, and only 2 times out of the hundreds and thousands of books, that books was damaged. Only twice.
Yeah.
So I can
it's a rarity.
You know, it's you just have to pack well. This is not the time. Doesn't matter if the book is $50 or $5. I pack everything very well. It's rare that I have anyone complain to me that, gee, Nick, you know, I got the books. Thankfully, it was not damaged, but you did a half-assed job. I rarely hear that. Okay, so I have never heard that. The 2 times that the book was damaged, I packed well. But you know, sometimes even when you pack well, the post office like to do cap dance on the box. You know?
Yes. There was one time, unfortunately, the seller packed it very, very well for me. I have to admit it, he packed it very well. But I got a box in the mail, and it smelled like vanilla latte. And as I looked at it, you could tell that somebody spilled their Dunkin' Donuts vanilla latte over the box. But fortunately, it was packed very well. It was like one of those box inside of a box things.
Yeah.
So, but those things do happen. But it's like what Nick was saying for Master Shake. He's watching. Just make sure, you know, you pack very, very well. And it is a rarity that, you know, something bad will happen. I mean, that things do happen, but just make the extra effort to pack very, very well.
And even more importantly is choose the right box.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've seen people put books in like some of the worst flimsy boxes. And that is even worse than not using cardboard. Okay, because if you use a box because you know, cardboard do age and become soft. Okay, so I have seen people that pack books in soft cardboard box, so soft that you can squeeze it and it crumble in your hand. Those are useless. Okay.
Yeah.
Find a box that are corner tight and sturdy. Okay, because that's what, you know, that's half the battle. If you put nice cardboard around the books, but then you pack it in soft cardboard boxes, the chance of damage is still very high.
Yes.
Okay? Your first line of defense is the outer box. That box needs to be sturdy. Do not half-ass. That's like putting cardboard around a book and then stuck it into a vanilla envelope. You know, those are like the horrible, idiotic shipper that do that. I'm like, what's the point? Because that cardboard that you use is not going to protect the book in the vanilla envelope.
You might as well send 2 backing boards on the book.
Yeah. So my advice is pack well, but choose the box very well. Okay, the box is the key.
Yeah.
Don't
absolutely.
the box.
Absolutely. Any other questions you got, Nick?
I got more, but I can skip to one of your questions.
All right, we'll trade off.
Before we go on, Patrick will be here in about 15 minutes. John might take a night off, so it's just me and Anthony for now, and then maybe Patrick will join us in about 15 minutes.
Okay. I forgot who sent this one. Oh, this is Maurice. This is from Maurice Devereaux, I believe his last name is. Okay. Hey, Maurice. He sent me this question. He was thinking about purchasing an Amazing Fantasy 15 maybe within the next year or two, and was wondering 2 things. One when it comes time to sell it years later, which of Comic Connect, Comic Link, eBay, or Heritage auctions would be recommended? Like,
Okay.
so basically, if you want to sell it, what avenue should you take to sell it? Should you sell it on Comic Link? Should you sell it on eBay, or any of the others?
I think Maurice also sent me the same question, but he also have another question on where to buy.
Oh yeah, there's a follow up. There's a follow up to
There
it.
was a
I
question.
didn't get the where to buy.
Yeah, where to buy. I had I think my first part was where to buy.
Okay.
Let's go with where to buy first.
Sounds good.
I have got this question quite often, like where would be a good place to get a good deal on Amazing Fantasy 15, and Dr. Von Schiller had one of the funniest lines he repeat many times.
I remember.
It's a fantasy to get a good deal on Amazing Fantasy 15. That being said, you can get a good deal. I can attest to you that I can get good deals, and I have get good deals. I have owned 6 copies of Amazing Fantasy 15 in my lifetime over the past 12 years. Okay, and I can tell you, I got 3 from Heritage.
Mm-hmm.
No, 2 from Heritage, 2 from Comic Link, 1 on eBay, and 1 from personal direct sales CGC forum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when it comes down to it, my advice to people that are hunting for an Amazing Fantasy 15 is keep your eyes wide open everywhere. Okay, because you are competing with just about every collector out there that have money.
Yeah.
Even those that have the book will still look to buy more.
Yeah.
So it's not about, you're competing with people that are looking for the book. No, you're competing with people that even have multiple copies that will beat you to it if they see the deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so your eyes must be wide open. You must be scanning every auction from Comic Link to Heritage to Comic Connect, especially eBay, because I can guarantee you eBay is probably the best chance for you to get the best deal.
I agree.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why do I say eBay? Because there's a lot of people that refuse to deal with eBay because it's horrible, it's terrible, it's scam, it's this and that. Yes, eBay is a wild, wild west, but with risk come reward. Okay, so I can tell you, one of my best deal came from eBay as far as Amazing Fantasy 15.
Mhm.
So I highly recommend looking on eBay. You might get a book 10% below fair market value, and that's a good deal. To get a Amazing Fantasy 15 for 10 or 15% below fair market value is a great deal.
Yeah. Let me add to that. Everything that Nick said was absolutely true, but when you were talking about trying to find an Amazing Fantasy for a reasonable amount of money, you should really do your homework and figure out what grade you want and what does the book on average and the grade you want sell for, so you could have as much money as you can, and then be like a hawk, look for the book on eBay, all these other places, so that if you find that deal, you can jump on it before somebody else does. Like all the things that Nick said, there are people out there that are looking for it. There are people out there that have it, and that if they see a good deal, they'll buy multiple copies. The point is for you to be prepared, to try to be as prepared as you possibly can to make that type of purchase, so that when that good deal pops up, wherever it may be, wherever you find it, you could just do what Nick does, like a cobra.
Yeah.
Quickly grab it. Not that I would know anything about getting Amazing Fantasy 15, but that's personally what I would do to get exactly what you want with less stress as possible, and to try to make a transaction like that as smooth as possible.
Correct. I support that idea, because having the fund ready is half the battle. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nothing worse than see a deal and then cannot pull the trigger because you don't have the money.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can tell you, it will kill you if you see a great deal and then can't pull the trigger. Now, years ago, when people asked me, Nick, how can you sell? Why did you sell the X-Men 1 9.0 and Amazing Fantasy 15 6.5? Guess what? I was building a war chest to get Action 1. Okay, so
right.
when the time come, when the Action 1 came around the corner, I am gonna beat that like a dead horse.
Yes.
Nobody's gonna beat me to it. Okay.
That's right.
So was I regretful in selling the Amazing Fantasy 15 or the X-Men? No. It's you gotta build a war chest, have the fund ready, and when the right book come along, you take it.
That's absolutely right. And if those of you that are looking to get a big book, whether it's Amazing Fantasy 15 or whatever, like with Nick, we went for the big book of all big books. Sometimes it's not only just having the money, but maybe there are some books that you could sacrifice to build that war chest that maybe you could get at another time, that you could maybe get again down the line. So you have to ask yourself a question, what's more important? Amazing Fantasy 15 or whatever book, or some of the things I have. Some people don't want to let go of the things they have, and that's fine. But these are just some questions you might be wrestling with that you should consider answering before you make such a purchase. And going back with what Nick said about having the money ready. Okay, you're going for an Amazing Fantasy 15. Don't go into getting an Amazing Fantasy 15 with $2,000 saved, because I just don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, it's not.
You should really build a realistic amount of money so that you can, excuse me, sorry, my voice. You can make that jump and get that book.
Yeah.
Don't go in with realistic ideas, realistic prices.
Yes, realistic grade. I mean, one of the things that always bugged me a little bit is when I hear people say, "Oh, I hate low grade and I want a 4.0." I'm just like, you can't afford a 2.0. What are you talking about 4.0?
Yeah, I hear that all the time. Oh, I don't like to get books below 5.0. Good luck.
I have been accused of low grade hater, which I don't know where that came from. But when I hear people say, "Oh, I don't want to buy anything below a 4," I'm just like, as if you're gonna turn down a chance to buy a 3.0 or Action 1. Come on. Yeah, it's just stupid talk. Okay, it's just arrogant nonsense talk when people say, "I don't collect anything below 4.0." What, 4.0 New Mutant 98? What the hell are you talking about? It's just nonsense.
Yeah, I hear that too, and that drives me crazy. Like, oh, I have to have books that are at least 5.0. Really? You're going to turn down a good deal for a 4.0 Amazing Fantasy because it's 4.0?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Be open-minded. I am, I have a lot of high grade. I also have a lot of low grade. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. To each his own. But for me, it's just like, know your limit, know your range, know your credit.
Yeah.
I am not advocating people to max out their credit card to buy a comic book. Okay, that's not what I'm talking here. When I say about save up, not.
Yes.
Oh, I have 5 credit cards that can total up $20,000 in debt so I can buy a Amazing Fantasy 15. That is not my advice. Okay,
yes.
Don't do that.
It's best to have cash, because then a lot of people that do what Nick just said wind up having to sell the book to pay off because something happened with their car and they have no room on their card, or they don't have any extra cash. That is not the way to save up for a grail.
Okay, let's move on to where to sell. Okay.
So what do you think?
You want to give your take?
Jeez. I haven't really thought about it, I'm sorry to say. I mean, the first thing that pops into my head was I would try to get the most bang for my buck. Where that is, I am not necessarily certain, because eBay takes a certain amount. PayPal will take some of that too. I don't know what Heritage does. I don't know what Comic Connect does. So I am not that skilled to answer that question. I haven't sold on a bunch of different places. Places.
My take is, if I was to sell my Amazing Fantasy 15 and I had sold 4 copies, all through, 3 through auction house, 1 directly to a dealer. Okay, so that's my experience. Would I do things different in hindsight? Absolutely. I would sell it privately to friends and other collectors that want a copy, and not giving anyone 10%. Screw that. Okay.
Yeah.
When Amazing Fantasy 15 is so highly desirable, you don't need a middleman. Well, some people need a middleman because they don't have connection. I am lucky enough to know enough people that if I want to sell my Amazing Fantasy 15, I think I know a few people that would say, Nick, I will buy it from you today. So my hunch is that if you are on the CGC forum, if your Amazing Fantasy 15 is in the slab, your chance of getting your Amazing Fantasy 15 sold for 3 to 5% below GPA is very high. If the book is presentable well for this grade, okay, you can get GPA at Comic Link or Heritage or Comic Connect, then you got to give 10%. So if you can sell privately through the CGC forum to one of the trusted member there, and only take a 5% hit, guess what? You came out 5% ahead, right?
Yeah.
So my advice is that, I sold a lot of stuff through the CGC forum. I bought a lot of stuff through the CGC forum. So get yourself on the CGC forum, be an active member there as far as buying, build a good reputation instead of being one of the scammers that get booted out of the forum. And over time, you can get good deals. I bought my X-Men 1 from there. I bought my FF1 from there. I bought an Amazing Fantasy 15 from there, all below fair market value, because the seller understands that they don't have to pay somebody 10%. So there's a halfway point, like 5% below fair market value is a win-win, right? So my advice, in hindsight, would I sell it through the CGC forum instead of eBay or Comic Link or Comic Connect? Absolutely. Now, guess what? And here's a benefit of selling something like that through the CGC forum. If you know what's going on and know the people and trust the people. If you sell an Amazing Fantasy 15 through Comic Link or Comic Connect or Heritage, sometimes you have to wait a long time to get your money. Okay, sure, you can ask for cash advance or whatever it is they want to give you, but at the end of the day, they're not going to front you the money if it's a 2.0 for $10,000. You're going to sit there and wait 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks to get your money, because the winner of that book might take 3 weeks to pay, or might pay on time payment or something crazy. And next thing you know, you have to wait like a month. So trust me. Or longer. So that's why if you can sell it to a trusted member of the CGC forum and they can PayPal you, done. Okay, done. So I can't stress enough I told Patrick this as well. Go on the CGC forum, pay attention, go there once, twice a week, look at the sales area. You might be able to pick up a nice X-Men 1, FF1, or anything. People that go to the CGC forum and sell things above fair market value, above GPA, they hear crickets.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody's gonna buy from them. Okay, that forum does not have idiots buying. Okay, so if you reasonable, understand how the forum works, you can get good deals.
Yeah, it's a good place. Yeah, whenever I'm looking for something big, I usually go to the CGC forum first.
Yes, highly recommend to do that, because I have done a lot of business through that, a lot of business. But eBay is a good place to get good deals. I would recommend selling big books through eBay. Because the one thing about Comic Link, Heritage, and Comic Connect is they vested their bidders. Okay, so you don't have to worry about somebody not paying. You don't have to worry about somebody lying. Oh, I didn't receive the book. Okay, when you sell to eBay, that risk is always on the back of my head. Is this buyer going to be one of those douchebags that say, "Oh, I didn't receive your books. I'm going to file a claim against you"? Okay, that's why everything I sell through eBay, I require adult
signature.
Nobody is going to leave the box at the door.
That's right.
I don't care if it's $150 book. I'm gonna spend an extra $5 to make sure that you're not gonna screw me.
That's right.
But that's the problem with eBay. It's like, every Dick and Harry can be a buyer. You don't know who it is. Compared to Comic Link or Heritage or Comic Connect, you don't have to worry about the guy paying you. They will pay.
Sort of like what you said, it's still the wild, wild west.
Ray say one bad thing about CGC forum is it's only CGC only. Correct. You will have to join the CBCS forum if you want to deal with the CBCS slap. They have it too. They have it too. Unfortunately, PGX does not have a forum.
Oh no. That's very depressing.
So you will have to rely on eBay for PGX.
Should I do the follow? I think you had a follow up to it.
Go ahead.
Okay. We might have already answered. And a follow up is, how's the best way to ship? He's from Canada. As no postal or courier service seems to have insurance that would cover those kinds of amounts. So I guess he's saying, okay, once you buy it, shipping it. We just talked about getting signature confirmation, all that stuff. But I guess in Canada, it's a little different. Any suggestions? Because I heard FedEx doesn't. I mean, they must have registered mail though, right? That would cover the cost.
I ship a lot of stuff with U.S. Postal Service. And I pay up for the insurance if needed. In fact, I just sold my X-Men 4 for $4,500. And I pay something like $60 to ship it. Okay? Because the insurance cost me like $50 plus all that crazy stuff. But when it comes down to something like $4,500, I'm not gonna try to save $50 and get myself into big trouble. See, I can't stress enough. Penny wise, dollar foolish. Okay? People, when you are selling big books, the last thing you want to do is trying to save $50. Pay the insurance, please.
Yeah. If you're making several $1,000s on a sale, don't sit back and say, oh my God, I don't want to spend $50, $60 on shipping this. You do it because it will secure peace of mind. It'll secure the shipping to make sure it gets to the person who bought it nice and safely.
As far as insurance, I believe I don't do this, but I was told by quite a few dealers is that if you buy collector insurance,
yes,
it will cover the shipping cost if you ship that thing to somebody. Okay, so I highly recommend if you buy collector insurance for your collection. Let's say you have $100,000 worth of books in your collection. And you want to spend, say, $200 a year or $300 or whatever it is to buy insurance for those books. You can verify this with the collector insurance, okay? But I believe it covers shipping. Okay, it's a pain to do all the because basically when you buy collector insurance, you have to inventory your whole collection. So that when you ship something out, it's documented that that's a book in your collection that's covered in. Like I said, it's a little bit of hassle, but big dealers do this. Okay, they buy collector insurance, and then when they ship books, they don't buy insurance from FedEx or U.S. Post Office or anything like that. It's covered under the collector insurance.
Yeah, and it's good to have collector's insurance for many reasons, just in case of whatever. Damages to the collection, robbery. I remember years ago when I went to a convention back in '94, I was talking to this one guy up here. We had some floods. One guy lost his entire Fantastic Four collection, including #1, in some sort of flood that happened. So you do not want to be in that situation. It's good when you have big collections to have some sort of insurance.
Yes,
hey, Patrick.
Tech 31 just said that if you have collector insurance, you cover up to $60K for any packages. See, there you go.
There you go. There's your answer.
If the link, if you go to Comic Connect or Metropolis Comics, they have a banner link to collector insurance that you can click on it and go right there and do the paperwork and contact them. I highly recommend for people that have 50K worth of insurance because of books, because all you can do what I do, rent out 4 boxes at the vault.
That's where Nick keeps everything.
I keep everything there. In fact, the whole vault belonged to ETL. I go in there and said, "Sesame door open." It's for me. But yes, I think we answered all the questions for Maurice.
Yeah.
Maurice, hopefully we cover all the bases for you.
Got another question, Nick?
I have one.
Oh.
Nope, that's all I have.
What do you got?
Someone left it in my comments. I have to look it up. But the question was, what are the top 3 runs you're trying to complete by title?
I can go quickly. Okay, I want Spider-Man, X-Men, and FF as far as Silver Age run. Okay.
Wow.
I want to.
He already finished his Batman Golden Age run.
Yeah, I already have all that. Yeah.
Oh, he's had all that crap already.
Yeah, Batman. Blah.
Detective.
So, I want Amazing Fantasy 15 through Spider-Man 129. Okay, that's my Spider-Man run, which is complete. Well, not yet. X-Men 1 through 143. That is complete. And FF 1 to 102, the last Kirby issue.
Now, are you going to jump back in when Kirby got back in the 70s?
No, that's it. So that's my 3 run that I want to complete. All the other stuff is not important. I mean, if I see a Thor or Journey into Mystery, sure, I buy it. But it's not. Same thing with Avengers. I'm not in any rush to complete the Avengers run.
Yeah, that's my tier 2.
In fact, it might be the first Silver Age run that I'm going to blow out next year.
Wow.
Because I'm just like, I'm never going to complete it. I don't care for Avenger 1. I don't care for any of the Avengers except for Avenger 57. So I might keep Avenger 57 and then the Neil Adams run. And then I'm just going to blow it out. What did Patrick
look at that.
Yeah.
You hear about that?
Yeah. Beautiful book.
It's not for you.
Yeah. Not for me. I would never own that book.
I love it. All for me.
It's all for Patrick. It's a great book. It's a great book. What about you, Patrick? What are your 3 runs that you would like to complete?
Well, I think that it is true runs, I guess. It's not like a beginning to end like Nick's are. I'm collecting Fantastic Four probably from, I'd say, probably 45 through 102 I'd like to do. I'm not as interested in the earlier ones. I would like 1 and 3 really are the only early on ones I want to get. Avengers, the same thing. I'd say probably like in the some in the 50s, like 54 through probably 59, and then I wouldn't pick up again probably till like the 90s when Neil Adams came in, and then I'd probably stop collecting right around probably 155, 56 around there. But those 2, and then there's, I guess, little runs in the Bronze Age things. Like I have a pretty good run of Marvel 2-in-1, Marvel Team Up. It's Bronze Age. I like the 20 centers. I'm collecting a lot of those. I just like the way they looked back then. So I guess I don't have any, runs. I did Commandy. I did Defenders. There's a run of Daredevil that I collected from like, I think it's 108 through 136, 37. So it's a lot smaller runs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But that's my runs. I know which ones you're working on.
Me?
You're working on Spider-Man.
Okay. That's right. Number 1. Yeah, like Nick, I would like to get an Amazing Fantasy 15 one day and do that from 129.
Yeah, see, I'm wondering, why do you both pick 129? Is it just because, or is there something specific about that?
For me, I think after 129, I'm not a big fan of the books until maybe like the 80s. I think the rest of the 70s, you maybe got a couple of good ones, but after that, it sort of falls off the track for me. It picks up a little when the Hobgoblin shows up. And obviously with Venom, that Venom run, that's an awesome run. But there's a lot of stuff in the middle that's just like, eh. And I think there's just a lot of better stuff in the first 129. Don't get me wrong. There's periods where it's like a little, but there's a lot of classic covers, a lot of classic books.
Because the Fantastic Four and X-Men I get because it's the end of Kirby Lee and then it's the end of Claremont Byrne. I get those two. But
well, also, I believe Gil Kane did a lot less work after 129 Spider-Man. You lose that because Ross Andrew took over.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Ross Andrew, but I used to have a lot of Spider-Man that was 30 cents, the Bronze Age.
Yeah.
They were boring as hell.
Yeah.
There was nothing there that was like, that not just that title. FF as well. I have a bunch of FF Spider-Man. To me, the 35 cents were basically X-Men. To me, that was the beginning of the X-Men.
I agree.
So they were awesome. But when you go and look at other books in the same time frame, they were just lame.
Yeah. For me, it was when the last good books for me was when it said still 35 cents.
Yeah.
After that, and it turned to 40 cents. Other than probably the X-Men and a few of the Avengers, I kind of lost interest.
Yeah. Another title, X-Men, 1 through probably 101. Now the ones that came after, obviously 101 are great too, but I wasn't that interested in like Starjammers, even though I have them. But I'm still missing a couple of books, but I would definitely like to get numbers 1 through 101. I know even the reprints, even though it's stupid, but I'd like to have those. And as for a third one, let's see, maybe Sleepwalker.
I can help you with that. I can actually. They're gone.
I don't have a third one. I really don't. I mean, for me, it's just like random pickings. I like Fantastic Four, but I really don't see myself building a Fantastic Four run. There are certain Avengers books I'd like, but I don't see myself doing that either. So it's really only those two. And as much as I would love to say Batman, I don't think that's possible anytime soon.
I had a full cap run, volumes 1 through 7. Starting with 100.
Well, I want to say hi to Azkaban, Stephen Wilkinson, Man from Beantown, as well as comics from Beulah.
Yep.
And Robert Finnerbrox is here. Marco 808 from Hawaii is here as well. I think he's still here. Very good artist. If you go to Marco channel, he shows some of the drawing. He's very talented. I think he should do a lot more sketch.
Speaking of hidden talent, Carl on bass. I was watching a video by Metarog this week, and he did a Deathlock sketch for him, and it's unbeliable.
Carl draws very well.
I thought it was Rich Buckler who did it. I didn't know he could draw. I didn't know Carl drew.
Yeah, there's a lot of good artists. I think if you're a comic book fan, I think the inner child in you want to be an artist. That is.
I think I showed a piece I did when I was a kid. When you're a little kid, you dream of being a comic book artist, And then you realize quickly you're not good enough.
Speaking of a comic book artist, there are a modern comic book artist on YouTube that did a great video a couple of days ago. I can't remember who sent me the link. Somebody did on Facebook. But he's an artist for DC. He's a in-house contract exclusive DC artist, Van Sciver.
Ian Van Sciver.
Oh wow, that's better than what I could do, Patrick. Way better.
But Van Sciver, he does, I believe, Green Lanterns or for DC. But he did a great video. Look him up on YouTube. He did a video, a long one, where he say how much does comic book artists make. And he go into lengthy detail on how much he makes with DC. And
it's nowhere near what everyone thinks.
A lot more than what people think. Okay, think about this. Jack Kirby in his prime, like in his late days was making six figures. Okay, which is but then again, you have to understand Jack Kirby drew like 4 books a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 20 covers.
Yeah, so for Jack
Jeez.
Kirby to earn that kind of money, he was working 16 hours a day. Okay, now these days with modern artists, if you're good, okay, you're talking about, I'm guessing Van Sciver
Yeah.
is good as like David Finch and other big name that have books that are, but he talked about how making six figures is fairly easy.
Wow.
Because he makes, think about this, he get paid if you watch his video, you learn more, but I'm gonna kind of like summarize it. He draw and he ink himself, so that's a big plus. Okay,
Oh, yeah, he's got 2 paychecks.
but that's like $300 to $400 a page. So a 22-page story, that's 6,000 something.
Yeah.
On top of that, every page that he draw, he sold them right on eBay right away for $300 a pop. So that's another $6,000 of original art out the door. That's not even the cover. He saved it the cover. Okay. So right there, that's $12,000.
It's a lot of money.
I
Drawing.
didn't know that they were allowed to keep the pencils themselves.
Oh yeah, they do. He's like, that's he's these days he draws something, he scan it, send it, and he keep the original. And the deal is, as soon as the book is published, he can sell them.
Oh wow. Yeah, because you don't want to get them out ahead of time.
As soon as Wednesday, as soon as that book hit the stand on Wednesday, it's on eBay Wednesday night.
So Tuesday at 12:01, you should be on eBay, ready to go.
Think about this. He got 12K. 12K a month from doing 22-page.
Wow.
On top of every book over, and this is the kind of deal that took place even when Jim Lee was with Marvel. Okay, they have a royalty thing where they get bonuses, they get royalty check from character they create. If the character go to another title, all that kind of stuff. He received like something like 5 cents for every book sold over a certain amount. For every trade that they sell from reprint, he make even more money. So his advice is, if you want to be an artist in this field, work hard at your craft, be good, and you can earn 6 figures fairly easy.
If you're good, if you got the talent.
But you can hear him say, independence, garbage. He's like, I started out working for independent company, got screwed every time.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I did see that Comixology is starting their own line of content, and it's going to be digital only or print on demand. So,
yeah, and he talked about how he make money on digital download too.
Yeah.
So go look him up on YouTube, because it's a wonderful 25-minute video, and he outlined every penny he earned from every source as a current comic creator.
Wow.
Okay, and once you watch that, you'll understand that they're not starving artists like back in the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s, where they earn $25 a page.
Well, probably so only if they work for Marvel, DC, or like Image, right?
Well, when Jim Lee and when Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, and Rob Liefeld,
There's 7 of them, yeah.
they were,
Sylvester, all those guys.
they were making crazy money.
Oh yeah.
That's why, whenever I hear people say, "Oh, they left to start Image because they didn't make enough money," no, that was not the point.
Mm-hmm.
They had huge ego. They want control. Todd McFarlane didn't want to be told with Spider-Man. Go back and read all the interview he did.
Oh yeah.
He never said, "I didn't get paid enough." No, he was making millions.
Yeah, he was doing
They
very
wanted
well.
more.
Spider-Man 1 earned him millions. Okay, he was not starving. He want control. He did not want people to tell him, "You cannot kill the Goblin. You cannot do this. You cannot do that." I want to do anything I want. Just like Jim Lee. Jim Lee's like, "I want to do whatever I want with the X-Men. I don't want to be told what not to do." So it's a control issue. It's not about the money issue. They got tons of money. Even Chris Claremont mentioned in one interview that he got so much money from the X-Men in the 90s that he bought his mom a plane.
Wow.
He bought his mom a plane.
Does she fly it? Um, I have a question here from. Let's see. Now we go down under with Errol. Okay. There's a bunch of questions. We'll only cover maybe one or two. How are some of, he wants to know, how do we think, how are some affording big ticket Silver Age books today? Mortgage, loans. As one guy I know took out a bank loan of $13K to get an AF-15 3 years ago. What are some of your thoughts on how people are able to get some of these that are not millionaires or not very well off?
It all comes down to sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we were
what are you
talking
willing
about
to
that earlier.
sacrifice? Are you willing to drive a used car? Are you willing to not go on a vacation? Are you willing to not live the lifestyle maybe you could? Are you willing to get into debt? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Or the other thing is you got a lot of guys that are getting older, like Nick and I, and
I turn 40 next month.
And you have disposable income, and you want to get the things that you always wanted, and you do it. You go out there and you get them. So that's part of it. But I think a lot of it is these younger collectors they're leveraged, and if you pick the right books, I guess you come out okay. But if you don't pick the right ones, it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Even 10 years ago, okay, even 10 years ago, there was a guy that I know that took a home equity loan to buy Amazing Fantasy 15.
God.
10 years ago, okay? Go to the CGC forum. All the guys that brag about having, high grades, Amazing Fantasy 15, I can tell you some of those guys bought it on home equity loan.
Oh,
And they're lucky that the book didn't go down.
yeah, they're real lucky.
That they can keep payment on their houses, or they would have had to fire sell those books. Every time I see those guys showing off the books and brag about them, it's like, yeah, you don't own it. The bank own it because you still making payment on that. That's what I told Anthony. I said, people that own a mortgage, they don't really own a home.
Right.
Bank own it, okay? When you pay it all off, then you own it. Showing off on Amazing Fantasy 15 8.0 because the bank, you borrow $80,000 from the bank, you don't own it. The bank own it.
You bought it, but you don't own it.
Exactly. You bought it, the bank owned it, okay?
In 10 years, it'll be all yours.
Yeah, in 30 years payment, you own it.
Can you imagine what that is? I mean, have they looked at that? Have they looked at what that cost of buying that money is going to be? Oh, I don't even want to think about it.
For me, just taking out a loan, doing something like that, just insane. It's just, you should just sit back and say, listen, know your limits. You can't have this book. You are not in the financial position to have this book.
Yeah.
If you have to use credit cards to go into debt, you have to sacrifice so much. There comes a level of a certain amount of sacrifice for some things. Like if I was to get that book, I would probably sell a couple of books that I don't mind getting rid of. That maybe I could, hypothetically speaking, of course, that maybe I could get again in a few years that are not as big of a deal as Amazing Fantasy. That's it. I'm not willing to go into my bank account. I'm not willing to put money on cards. I am not willing to get a loan because then I think something clicks inside me and says, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Let's be realistic here.
That's the little John in you saying that.
That's little John. It's whatever. It's a good voice to have because it brings you back to reality. And I think sometimes people get so wrapped up in putting the book in the next video or showing it off to somebody that they lose sight of what they can and cannot do.
There's a lot to be said for what you just said too, because I know for me, a lot of it just comes down to hustle too. Like, so I've transformed all these, I had boxes and boxes, long boxes, and I transformed those into, Avengers 4 in other books.
A nice war chest.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a war chest. And, you work on the weekend. Maybe, your 9-to-5 job, you pay all your bills and you don't really have much disposable income. Maybe you go build decks or you paint houses on the weekend. That's a great way of doing it. But again, it comes down to sacrifice, and that's what it is. You gotta either you're older or you're independently wealthy. You're one of these .com kids that came up with a great idea in the 2000s, and you're 30 now and you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
Or say you're 51 and you come up with a forensic accounting program and you're now a millionaire. Almost someone like that. that has disposable income. Again, hypothetically.
You know,
Hypothetically speaking.
Yes.
and I can speak for myself is that I'm very frugal.
Yeah.
You know, hey, I wear a Walmart $10 t-shirt. Okay.
It doesn't look it, Nick.
You know, now on top of that,
I was going to guess Target.
think about this. How much money do you guys spend on gasoline per year?
Well,
off the top of my head.
50 a week, so.
Me, I spent about maybe $30 a week. So add that, add that up.
So all the people in the chat room, okay, I have run my own business now for 20 something years. I spend no more than $40 a month on gasoline.
That's great. That's
Same
great.
with my wife. Okay, we both spend less than 50 a month because she works 3 miles away. Okay, she worked 3 miles away, so she drives. So when think about this, I easily can save $2,000 in gasoline a year. Okay, compared to the average person that had to drive to work. So think about how much I can buy in 20 years when you guys are blowing 40K on gasoline.
Yeah, that's.
Yes, does that bug some people? Get some hate? That's life.
And you're protecting the environment.
You have to put the warning sign up, Nick, before you say things like that.
Just get t-shirts printed up.
No, it's you know, and on top of this, okay, another thing. I did not have a cell phone for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I only got a cell phone last year, but from the time that Anthony was from 2 to 8 years old, I abandoned the cell phone.
Oh, that's great.
$100 a month.
Oh yeah, easily.
Okay,
yeah.
So trust me, I saved a lot of money for not having a phone. I drove a crappy car for the longest time because I told my wife, we barely ever drive. Why do I need to have a BMW in the driveway?
You just need something to get you back and forth to CGC.
Exactly. There's a lot of guys, you know, I know guys that live in a mobile home. Okay? Because they cannot afford a real home. They live in a mobile home, and guess what he drives? A Ferrari.
Yeah. That's
because it's cool. I got chicks with that, you know. It's hey,
and then you bring them home to
to the trailer. Yeah,
I'm gonna drive you home to my trailer and turn off the lights so you don't see what's inside. Okay.
You gotta get a little bit of the love machine.
Yikes!
But you know, it's just come down to, you know, some people have, you know, I know a lot of people that complain, oh, I can't afford that book, but they make a $400 payments in their car every month.
Yeah.
Why do you need to have that car? Why do you need to have a 2018 something?
Yeah. Why do you have to upgrade your phone every 6 months?
Yeah. My wife, until last year, drove a 2002 Honda Accord. Okay, so yes, that's the kind of living we have not made a car payment ever.
Yeah, it's. I'm glad you brought that up because I remember about a year ago on Facebook, someone was complaining about not being able to get big books. Now I'm not talking about amazing fancy type books, but just big books. Yet a few months later, they upgraded to the iPhone X. How much was that book? I mean, how much was that phone?
Yeah, that's $800.
I mean, I guess because you finance it throughout the month, but that is just so stupid.
Yes,
I don't need the iPhone X. I don't give a shit. I don't need a retina scan to open the phone, or whatever the hell it does. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. People are seeing stuff like that. I can't get this book. I can't get that book. Well, maybe cut in some other areas. Okay, maybe if you don't want to sell stuff, but cut your spending on action figures. Cut your spending on this. Funko Pops. And maybe after a period of time, you'll have enough to get a nice looking copy of whatever it is you want, and you could be happy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's people. It's not unthinkable for people to be able to save $5K a year to buy big books if they want to. I think it's silly to waste money on things that you don't need. That's the thing, you know. I mean, you have to prioritize what you need. I mean, at the end of the day, you have. I can preach all I want about responsible spending, but at the end of the day, you know, people are what they are. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to convince somebody in the chat room that are 45 years old to completely change his lifestyle. I'm not a lifestyle coach.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be anybody's coach. You know,
No.
it's
I just tell you what works for me.
I learned not to tell people what to do with their money because even when you're right, you're wrong. So it's best to let people do what they do. Let them complain what they want to complain, and just it is what it is. You know.
Yeah.
No, but
You know. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, Nick. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But I don't know. Something just popped in my head. I don't know if this necessarily relates. But I think sometimes people may struggle with getting those big books. Do you know what I mean? Like actually pulling the trigger on getting those big books. Maybe they have some of the money, but maybe there's some resistance in actually purchasing them because at the end of the day, they were thinking, well, this is still just a comic book. What am I doing? It might be too much of a risk. And sometimes don't get it, but then complain about it later.
You know, and I can talk about this before. I don't remember back in the 70s and 80s people worrying about that. That seemed to kind of creep in when everyone started thinking, what is this book going to be worth in the future?
Yeah.
So when I wanted a book back then, you just got it, and you got the best one you could get your hands on. And now it's they're straddling a fence. One side's investor, one side's I like the comic. And nothing I buy, I think that way. I know that book will be worth money, and it's already worth more than I paid for it. But I love it, and I want it, so that's why I got it. And I sold things to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how I got it. So,
and it feels good, though, right?
It does.
You're able to get what
hold
you
it in your
want.
hand. There's just something about that. And I've seen guys that do videos, and they finally get that book, their grail, and it could be nothing that great. It could be a $100 book. But once they get it, that feeling you get that you've been chasing that thing for so long is awesome.
Yeah, I was talking to Aaron about that. He recently purchased X-Men 1.
Oh.
And he sold a lot of things. He sold the collection. And when he finally got that X-Men 1, he realized, hey, I kind of like having bigger books because, this is what I really want. And I'm going to try to shift my focus for the future.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it happens.
Ben in the chat room said that years ago he bought his first Amazing Fantasy 15 for $200.
That's awesome.
And then he sold it a year later for $800.
Good for him. Grab that margin when you can. Don't regret it. Don't look.
How long ago was that?
Let's see.
I would imagine like in the 80s.
He did not say. He just said that he bought his first one for $200. Let me see. He did say 1994.
Oh, wow. Oh, good for him.
Yes, 1994. I'm guessing it's a low grade.
Made good profit and got out. Good for him.
Yeah, these days $200 might get you one page.
It does get you one page, maybe.
One page without the Spider-Man.
Yeah, you get the mummy in the case.
Yeah, Bueller showed one off. He's got one.
Yes, I think
Amazing 15 page.
If you get the one that have Peter Parker, you might have to pay up to like $500 for it.
Oh yeah, I bet more than that.
Yeah, but my guess is it's for $200 you might not get one with Peter Parker.
That's more like $600 to $800.
Yeah, Ben said 1994. Yeah, the biggest book that I passed in the 90s was a Batman 1. I had someone offer me a Batman 1 for about, I think, $3,000.
Oh, wow.
This is the late 90s. I think it's like 1998, 1999. I mean, this is when I just returned to the hobby through eBay. And I'm just like, $3,000 for Batman 1. Oh, my God. I can't do that.
Man. I'd love that book to be $3,000 now.
Yeah,
that's crazy talk. Oh my God, I can't do that. It's.
I think about that now when I'm looking at like Fantastic Four, the Hulk, or some of these bigger books that I'm looking at, and I think, geez, there's so much. But I would have thought that 5 years ago. When is a good time to buy? You don't know. None of us know. So this could be the golden age. We could be looking back 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and Fantastic Four is a $20,000 book.
Well, believe me, I think in a few years' time, 5, 8 years' time, there's some of the books that we're talking about. This is the golden age.
Yeah, they're going to be out of reach. So,
yeah. Well, I will load a video next week where I talk about why I think there are room to go higher in the market. just
Yeah, I
from
saw that recent video of yours with the
just
high
just
tide.
just no. Well, that's one thing, but I will go into more detail on where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
Because as a seller, I've been selling a lot of books since 2010. I had to say that this is the first year where I see a different trend of where the money is coming from. And we'll see,
And I
because
have a guess.
well, think about this. I'm sure many people can guess already. What's the second biggest market for Marvel movie?
Yeah, it's Asia.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
I have never thought. I had this conversation 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I had a conversation with a CGC forum member talking about collectible future. And he was so bearish on the future, right? He's just like, this hobby is going to go the way of the baseball card. And this and that. And I remember have a huge debate with him. We got a friendly debate, right?
Debate / argument.
It's a friendly debate because here's my take. I'll give you a glimpse of what I discussed. I said that unlike baseball card, okay, sure, baseball is big in Japan, it's big in Korea, but they don't really care about American hero. They care about their own hero, okay? And unlike comic book hero, baseball hero, once they retire, they kind of disappear, and then the only one that care about them is their own fan. Right? Like Don Mattingly. I'm a Yankee fan from the 80s, right? So I'm a big Don Mattingly fan. But guess what? Unless you are a Yankee diehard fan today, how many non-Yankee fans know about Don Mattingly? To go after a Don Mattingly rookie card.
I think it's true of Hall of Famers even.
Yeah, the same thing with many card things. Sure, everybody knows Gretzky. That's why Babe Ruth, there are cards that will always be valuable.
Like
right?
people
Gretzky, the Babe Ruth, the thing. But when it comes down to other card, it just doesn't bring back any kind of memory.
Is it just me, or did the chat just get a whole lot prettier?
Yes, Dr. Von Schiller is in the
beautiful, man. Beautiful.
Yes, he's here. So let Doc have his chance to speak.
I agree, though, Nick, with what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I will load the video next week, but I go into detail on why I think this is still not the top of the market. I'm not calling the top or the bottom, but I think those that say this is it, it's gonna crash, it's gonna burn. I'm like,
I think we're at the halfway point.
Yeah, because Asia is just warming up.
Yeah.
And, everything that I thought 10 years ago could happen is coming through, because when I had this debate 10 years ago, I said superhero is not baseball cards. There is it can translate through culture.
Yep.
Okay. Nobody give a damn about Don Mattingly. All right, unless you're in New York or you're hardcore collectors. But trust me, some guy in Hong Kong with money is gonna want the Tales Suspense 39.
No, he's not. Stop.
Or Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah. So there are room. There are money. There's a lot of money slushing around. Okay. Anyone that think that that we are near the end, not here. I don't think so. Okay, Doc. The floor is.
Doc. Set us all straight.
I just woke up, so I'm a little groggy. Although I was having some pretty nice dreams.
We're not going to ask you what the content of those dreams were, because this is a G-rated show.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, we can move on. I've been asleep most of the day, actually, so I am kind of groggy. But I woke up and I realized that y'all were on, so I better at least stop in and say hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Howdy, y'all.
Hello.
So you got another question, Anthony?
Yeah, I do. Let's go. Let's see. We're gonna let Doc answer it this time. Yeah. Wake him up a little bit.
All right.
Okay. If you had to sacrifice, this is from Errol. If you had to sacrifice all of your books today and sell them all for one book, could you do it? And what book would you do it for?
It's a good question for Doc.
Um,
I know one book he's never letting go of.
yeah, there is one book that I'm never gonna let go of, but I don't. I don't have. First of all, I don't even know if there is one book that I want anymore.
Mm.
The if I could just really fantasize about it, I would say, yeah, I want Action Comics #1. I've wanted it all my life, and that would be the book. But I don't have it anywhere near. Like my collection wouldn't even fetch. It would fetch next to nothing compared to what what I would have to pay for an Action #1. So I kind of have to disqualify from myself from that, because I mean, I really don't. I can't. I used to have those fantasies about that big book. What is the one book that I want? And I don't know. I guess I'm just getting older and jaded or something. And I don't really have those kinds of fantasies anymore. The stuff that I want are just weird oddball things. Like, ask me right now, what book do I want? I want like Werewolf by Night #2. You know what I mean? That's about as far as my mind can really stretch on the topic. So,
all right, let me ask you this though, Doc. What EC book would you like to have? Let's make it a little easier, because what EC book out of just one EC book, if there was only one, which one would it be and why? We can narrow it, make it more realistic.
Well, the one I wanted the most, I already have.
Oh, okay. Scratch that question.
Nick, was that looked like John's speaking, but it sounded like Nick's answer.
Yeah. What's going on here, Nick? He's taking your lines.
That's okay. Well, if Doc sell everything he has, he probably can afford an X-Men 1.
Oh.
Yo, there you go, Nick. See, yeah. There's a book I want. That I have this weird anxiety about purchasing it because, I've explained this before.
But is it so bad though, John?
No, it's not. But I've never even remotely spent that much on a comic book in all my years of collecting. So there are all these little qualifiers and what I would have to, the mental process I would have to go through to actually make a purchase like that. And, would I really, really love my X-Men #1 and just go, damn, I'm glad I did that. That is great. Or would it all turn out to be some kind of like Edgar Allan Poe story where I come to hate the book and I obsess over the book and I finally crack the slab and I destroy the book, and
there's a little more than Edgar Allan Poe going on there.
Yeah, I like this.
Right. And I'd lose my family over the book, and I end up wandering the streets of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania over the book, and so I mean, what's it going to be? It's got to be heaven or hell with me, because I'm just one of those types of people. That's just the way my life goes. It's heaven or hell. Usually heaven, but hell is always a possibility.
That was
over next #1, right?
That was a very, very interesting.
Yeah, that went to places I didn't think it was going to.
Yeah, I just thought that maybe if you would just sell the book if you didn't like it anymore, but we're going through heaven and hell, and I mean,
Anthony, nothing is ever that easy.
Well,
I thought that maybe it just would appear on eBay in one of my searches, and it just happens to be Doc Mongello selling it. But that's okay.
No,
oh shit!
Gonna crack that slab and wander the streets of Harrisburg, stabbing people.
The X Killer.
Cyclops.
I hate slabs.
He carves an X on people.
So Patrick, what would you do? What would you sell?
Well, that's a funny question, because that's pretty much my game plan.
This is the story of Patrick's life right now.
What I've been doing since 2013, selling all the books I own to get. Only it's not one, it's several, and it's broke down into tiers, and that one was one of the first ones. But and I haven't been secretive about it. I want the gold standard of the Silver Age. I want Fantastic Four 1, Hulk 1.
I'm gonna have to debate you on that one, Patrick.
Yeah. What's that?
I'm gonna have to debate you on your gold standard.
Oh. What is it? You don't think Fantastic Four, Amazing Fantasy?
I'm teasing. No, I'm teasing it.
Yeah.
I just thought that you said Fantastic Four 1 over Amazing Fantasy.
I do want it first. If there was only one book that I really, I guess, want more than all the others, that would be it.
Yeah.
Because for me, that started it all.
It did.
It had everything in it. It had Stan Lee. It had Kirby. It had the team. It just
monsters,
superheroes. Heroes. It did so much, and it was first.
Yeah, I've said it before.
Marvel. Without that book, nothing else would have happened.
I've said it before. Like, I was never a big Fantastic Four fan, but when I first read Fantastic Four, it was in reprint. I was a big fan of that story. I mean, it's not like necessarily a groundbreaking story, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, it had sci-fi in it too, with where they went up and they didn't have the proper shielding, and there's so much about it, and they were a family, so there's just so much going on in Fantastic Four 1 to me that is relatable and just is such groundbreaking.
Well, We Love Comics is in the house, and he just have an announcement that eBay is having a 20% discount on everything right now.
It goes out. It stops at 9 o'clock Eastern, I think.
What is it? A 25? What?
It might be 10 o'clock.
20% discount.
Only if you got the code, though.
Well, I would check my eBay, but for sure, I'm buying something.
Yeah, I keep stuff in reserve just for that reason.
Damn it! They cap out at 1,000 or 100.
100. It's capped at 100.
So much for that Amazing Fantasy 15.
It's capped at 100, and it has to be at least a $50 item.
Oh, come on, Nick! How many more Amazing Fantasy 15s do you need?
He's hoarding them all.
He's not enough.
Selling them all to mouths they come.
Come on, stop this nonsense. There are other people here.
Well, bring on the hay. Thank you for the code. We Love Comics. Type in the code, so there you go.
It's just that's right. It's for Father's Day.
So, wow. So, Anthony, what would be your answer for the question?
Well, I don't know if I would have to sell my entire collection to get a book. A few, but the big one that I would want, not saying I have it or anything, would be Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh.
But underneath that, let's take the Fantasy 15 and put it aside for a moment. Realistically speaking, of course, I can't get a Batman #1 if I sell everything I have. That's just not going to happen. Or a Detective 27. But a #2, I think, would probably be a Showcase 4.
Okay.
A Showcase 4. That I would like very much. And number three on the list, if the first two fail, would be a Crime Patrol 15.
Wow.
Because that is something that is very dear to me. That because remember, we talk a lot about investing, we talk a lot about selling, but I think all of us, at our heart, we are collectors. We were originally collectors. We enjoyed comics for other than investment. And it was EC that I really, really loved and enjoyed, which really, was part of my collecting history, part of my collecting heart. And I would love to have, to me, the best EC character, the Crypt Keeper, his first appearance in Crime Patrol 15.
Wow.
A Gaines file copy.
Yeah, for me, since I have everything, I don't feel.
Oh God, Nick.
Well, no, seriously, think about it.
I know what Nick. I know.
If he sold all of his books, what he could get?
I would get a Detective 27.
Yeah.
That's the only book. Would I sell everything in my collection except my Action 1 to get a Detective 27? Absolutely. I would have 2 books in my collection. That's all I need.
I think we just came upon a new Vision Quest for you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's it.
Liquidate and get that 27.
Yeah, it's hey, if I decide to blows out 3,000 books and
you could have a sweet copy too.
And get 150K in the bank and go buy myself a Tech 27 2.0 or something like that.
Hold them like this, one in each arm.
Well, Metropolis has called me time to offer up on my Action 1, and my answer has always been, if Attack 27, we'll talk. But that's it. There is no selling my Action 1. But find me an Detective 27, and we will talk. But there is no way anyone would trade a Detective 27 for an Action 1. I don't see it happening. So I don't know.
Hey, I saw something today in the supermarket, and I don't know if this has been known or not, but there was a Mad magazine out. Mad magazine #1. Have you seen this?
Yeah. I heard it was out. I didn't see it.
It's got a picture of Bill Gaines on the inside cover, and he looks like Jerry Garcia now.
No, Bill Gaines. He did. In his later years, he did look a little like Jerry Garcia.
Yeah,
he absolutely did.
It's interesting though, because it's all color, and it's like modern comics. It has the shiny pages. It looked like a Mad magazine though. I picked it up and I thumbed through it, and they had the Han Solo parody in it, and the usual stuff that they have in there. So I hadn't heard about it. I didn't know that they were coming out with that again. It had a #1 on it, of course.
Okay.
So I don't know if anyone in the chat's heard of it. I hadn't heard of it till
I had not seen that.
On the EC fan club page on Facebook, I've heard of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there going to be an ongoing thing, or is this just
that I don't know. I was never interested in Mad, so I didn't do any follow-up questions to it.
If you open the cover, because it has 2 covers, you open up the cover, and it's Alfred E. Newman on the inside cover flipping the bird. So, I don't think it's for kids. So,
did anybody buy anything this week to show off?
I didn't buy anything. I had my slabs. I don't know if everyone saw those 3 videos.
They were great.
I broke them up. I think we each actually got a mention in each one of them, if not all of them.
They were great videos, Patrick.
I know.
You see certain books, and you just think of people,
Well, a lot of people love to see, as much as some people hate slabs, no doubt, showing slaps in video tend to get a lot more views than me talking.
Yeah.
It's like I said, the hobby, like I said, will always have people that don't care for slabs. But I think the in general, the attitude towards slabs has changed a lot in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think overall on YouTube, the hottest or the most watched comic themed are haul videos. Most people really, really love haul videos, and
yeah, it's always been that way. As long as I have been around, But that's why for sure, maybe it's just me, but I feel like we get a lot less video now in the community than ever.
Yeah, because I've been watching for almost 3 years, and I'd say you're right. I think when I first started watching, like in 2014. 2015, every other video was haul videos, and it was the same books.
I think there's a slowdown. We have more people in the community today, but I feel as if less people are making videos now than ever.
Yeah,
and that's my general view of the community, because I used to log onto YouTube every day, and there would be like 10 videos from people that I sub to.
Yeah.
Now I turn on and I barely see one. The other 9 is my, Strictly Dumpling, Mark Wing, Food Ranger, all the traveling vlog that I subscribe to. I barely see something from the comic community, and it's not as if like they're making videos and it's not showing up on the feed. I just know that the average person makes less videos now than they did, say, 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny though. Haul videos, they're okay and everything, but I like discussion videos.
Yeah.
I like it when, like, let's say, for instance, what you do, Nick, when you sit there and you'll talk about the market, when you'll talk about got to have, all these different topics. I like topics, I guess, topics videos, rather than showing 40 minutes, 45 minutes of all the books that I've gotten.
Just like We Love Comics said in the chat room, they said people go bankrupt making videos.
No, I think he's right. That's why a lot of channels burn out, because after they spend so much money and then they try to sell some of these books and they can't. That's all their channel was showing, haul videos, and without explanation of why they enjoy these books or why they even purchase them.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous thing to do as far as existing on YouTube for the sake of buying and showing off. Some people can do it. Some people, like Mercenat, he's had been doing it for a long time. But even he, for those that follow Mercenat, right? He used to do weekly video that show like 100 books. Now it's like once a month.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like you just can't keep up the pace. You know, if you can, go for it. You know, but life will get in the way. Job get in the way. Money get in the way.
Now, again, this 20% discount. What's the code?
Something about Dad. It's in the chat. I think We Love Comics posted it.
I got it right here. Pick Dad's Gift.
Pick Dad's Gift.
Yeah, PICKDADSGIFT.
Okay.
And you got to use it by 10 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, I'm buying myself an Amazing Fantasy 15.
Another one.
X-Men #1 for me.
There you go, Doc. Doc won X-Men 1.
Maybe a
Like-
Crime
The
Patrol
Jim Lee
15.
one, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's my favorite.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I will end the chat in about 15 minutes so that I have some time to do some shopping on eBay.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot resist 20%.
That's free money.
Is that what? That's off for things that are $100 or less, right?
50.
Well, no, it's
50,
$50 or more, and you max out at $100. So the most expensive thing you get the full value is $500.
I
Yeah.
see. Let's see. Maybe I need a new PlayStation game.
Well, find something for $500 so you're not leaving any money out.
Mutant 98 CGC 9.6. Here I come.
Really? No, think about it, because you're already getting 20% off, and then turn around and sell it tomorrow.
I'm gonna buy that and flip it next month like a mofo.
Tomorrow. Just take the whole listing and relist the listing, and just hope that it gets there in a few days.
Ooh, always about the money. I'm shameless. I'm sure some people is like, this hobby is not about selling and profiting. I hate you.
Look, but to touch up on that, to each his own. I mean, granted, I think, like I said earlier, all four of us, I think we were all genuine. We all genuinely got in the hobby because we liked comics other than value. Whatever that like is, it varies. But, I think a lot of our collecting has changed over the last couple of years, and it's a little bit of both, maybe a little bit more on one side than the other. But it's really to each his own.
Mm-hmm.
If you could flip books and make money, go ahead. If you like to collect books, go right ahead. If you like to flip and collect books, go right ahead. But it doesn't bother me.
I agree.
Yeah, everyone just do your thing.
Do your thing.
Yeah, the way I feel about it, I'm setting books free again. A lot of times I feel like I'm rescuing them, because I'll get them from collections, and I know if I don't save these books, they're going to get destroyed because someone's got them in a garage or a basement. And yeah, I clean them and I press them, and then I get them out there in the market, and they're pretty as can be and unrestored.
Yeah. Well, anyway, folks, do we have any more questions, or that's the end of the question?
I do have another question.
Let's go one last one.
One last one. Got it. All right, here's a good one. Is Silver Age Marvel books a better?
Yeah.
We just got finished talking about investment. Is Silver Age Marvel books a better investment than DC Silver Age?
Well, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
There's more of them, I'd say.
I would say yes.
There's more keys.
Yeah, I mean, just the early appearance. You got Spider-Man, Iron Man, the reintroduction of Captain America, Doctor Doom. I mean, I think that all that stuff will outnumber a lot of the key Silver DCs.
Yeah, there's at least 30 key Marvel Silver Age books.
I mean,
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of key DCs, like the first Martian Manhunter, first Flash, Silver Age Flash, but I think it starts to, Marvel overtakes them.
Yeah, because I think that's why the Marvel age exploded, because the sheer amount of awesome new characters that launched in the early 60s through the mid 60s. Meanwhile, DC has, let's see,
Martian Manhunter, Justice League,
Poison Ivy.
Batgirl.
Yeah, I mean, it's so
Batgirl.
few. I mean, it's so few DC key character that was launched in the 60s that it's just not, it's nothing compared. I mean, that's why Marvel becomes such a huge thing, because it's just like so much different, you know.
The market was waiting for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the right time. It was like a lightning in the bottle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where
They were just, banging out books left and right.
Yeah.
Boom, here's this, here's this, here's
And
this, here's this, here's this.
3 years from 61 to 64 is insane what they
Yeah.
were able to do.
And DC was like, they were trying to reintroduce a lot of their old Golden Age characters, but they were pretty much sitting on their laurels off of Superman and Batman and all the others. The Marvel just came in and one good idea after the next, and it just snowballed into the Marvel age.
you know, and the crazy thing about DC in the 60s is like, you know, if you look at the covers of Batman, Detective, and Superman, it is so wacky.
Yeah.
You know, Batman is fighting like cat with like laser beams.
Wacky element. Yeah.
They're playing baseball.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Superman shooting rainbows out of his fingers. I mean,
A lot, and some of those Batman ones that you were mentioning, Nick, some of them after a while they start looking alike.
Yes.
Like the one where he's fighting aliens. I'm like, didn't I see this cover already like 3 issues ago?
Yeah, I mean, if I, you know, going back to the 3 title that we would 3 run we would want to complete, if I did not collect X-Men's Fantastic Four or Spider-Man, the one thing I would collect would be Joker's cover.
Oh.
Okay, especially the Golden Age and Silver.
Oh yeah.
I think they are just the bomb. Even as crazy and silly as they can be, I love all those covers. I rarely see a Joker's cover during the Golden Age or Silver Age I say that I didn't like. Every time I see one, I'm just like, that's a cool cover. If I was gonna collect DC run, it would be covers of Jokers, Golden Age through Silver Age.
You can't go wrong with that.
I would not collect anything else DC. I would never collect any DC run, but if I could, it would be Joker's cover from the Golden Age through the Silver Age. And I think that's about it, folks. Unless other people have other things to say.
I do not.
I'm ready to go back to bed.
Doc is ready for his beer. Doc is ready for
I have Diet Coke at the moment, and I think I'm just going to go back to bed.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, at least, John.
All right, John.
Thanks
for joining.
I think T will probably have a chat up and running in about 10 minutes for those that are looking for another chat to migrate over.
It'd be interesting to see after last week what went on that channel, see if there's any heat going on.
I think it's best to stay off the fray, because it's not worth, that's the kind of thing that's not worth fighting over.
No, it's not.
No. My advice to TiVo is stay off the topic and move on.
Ignore it.
You know, I mean, but it's up to TiVo. He's a grown man.
Yeah, he's a grown man. He can do as he pleases, you know.
Yeah. He does say that. I'm a grown-ass man. He says that a lot.
Hey, I'm a grown-ass man myself.
You know.
I'm a grown-ass man that like the hate. I'm fueled by hate.
I've heard that about you, Nick.
I can feel the darkness.
Do it. Do it.
Oh my God, that was uncannily like the Emperor from Star Wars, Patrick.
Do it.
Well, anyhow, folks, thank you for tuning in. As always, thank you for We Love Comics to even pop in and give us that sweet code, because I'm gonna go shopping in a few minutes.
That's it. You know, if any of us buy something, you got to bring it and show it next Wednesday. We'll
Yes, I will. I will show off.
Here's what I got with my code.
Yes. So
And
anyhow,
no judgment. It's a no judgment zone.
yes. Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, we are off the